Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge. We're hosting the annual challenge as a fifth annual challenge this year around. And we are very excited because we have 140 educators participating from 25 different countries, new countries being added this year. So we are very happy with over 4,700 students from all over the world. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and we'll send the recording to anyone who was not able to join. And you do see some PACFO alumni here, so looking forward to having you maybe sharing a comment through the webinar and inspire new educators. So we'll get ahead and get started. And we have Perla Myers here with us today, and she'll do an introduction of what the Jacobs Institute is and the team.
Good afternoon and welcome. I am so honored to be the one to welcome you, and on behalf of the Jacobs Institute for Innovation in Education. The Jacobs Institute for Innovation in Education focuses on research, development, and professional learning, all to advance educational innovation and leadership. And we are so excited for this to be launching the number of educators that we get to collaborate with, and students and countries. We're so excited, and you are in amazing hands. I will pass it on to Bianca to share what the next steps are and launch the challenge. So
Thanks.
enjoy, have fun through the process, and we are so excited to see you throughout the journey.
Thank you, Perla. So again, that was Perla Myers, our executive director. Thank you for joining. And just so you are aware, here is a slide that has like members of our team. Lisa Dowley couldn't be with us tonight, but she's the co-creator of PACFO. My name is Bianca Alvarado. I'm the Associate Director of EdTech and Innovation Impact here at the University of San Diego with the Jacobs Institute, and helping lead the PACFO, all the programs and services offered through PACFO, like the Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge. And I'll let you introduce yourselves too.
Hi, everyone. Welcome in. My name is Annie Avalos. I am the Social Innovation Specialist here at the Jacobs Institute at the University of San Diego, and I'm excited to get started.
Thank you. And we also have Derek, who's our engineer consultant, part of the PACFO team, who has been helping us develop new functions of the PACFO app, which I will go over tonight. And we have new releases for the usability that you'll have access to coming up soon. soon. So we're very excited for that, and we're so thankful to have Derek and the whole team whom are making this tools accessible to you all over the world. We're gonna go ahead and let Anne do an introduction of what is social innovation and what is our mission in trying to reach students with these new tools and resources.
Absolutely. So our mission here behind PACFO is to empower youth internationally because we believe that teens can build a better world through innovation, resources, and accessibility. When we examine where inventors grew up, as represented in this chart by the darker blue colors, we can see that geography definitely matters. Where you grow up definitely impacts your access to innovation culture. For example, children who grow up in Silicon Valley are especially likely to patent computers, while children who grow up in perhaps Minneapolis will have less access to patent medical devices. Your chances of becoming an inventor in America is also heavily influenced by your family's wealth. As we can see in this chart, your chances of inventing rise as your parent income rises, with those at the top 1% of wealth being 10 times more likely to develop patents than those who live in poverty. When we look at innovators by gender, only 18% are women, and women founders only receive 2% of overall venture capital funding. This gender gap in innovation is shrinking gradually over time, but at the current rate we're going, it will take about 118 years to reach gender parity. The loss of potential innovation diversity has economically impacted our country in billions of dollars. Entire regions of the United States and entire segments of the workforce are impacted by a lack of access to innovation culture. Bell and Chetty, economists at Stanford, believe that by recapturing these lost Einsteins, including women, minorities, and children living in poverty, we can quadruple the rate of innovation. So with that in mind, this is why we created the Teen Innovation Challenge. The Teen Innovation Challenge is a design thinking competition for teens that empowers them to create innovative solutions to local and global issues. Often, teenagers don't realize that they have the ability to really make a big impact on the world, but through challenges like ours, we have seen teens develop an innovator's mindset and entrepreneurial skills that can be used in any career. Past winners of the Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge include the Firefly Health team in 2023, who won first place. Firefly Health's mission was to create a tangible path for improved household air quality for people who use open fires to cook or heat their homes. They designed a sustainable stove with reusable materials to kill contaminants from the smoke to provide a cost-effective solution to combating the smoke pollution produced by open fires.
Welcome to Firefly.
The Siren Project took second place in our 2023 challenge by creating a product that notifies emergency response personnel of an emergency. Their product combined coding technology and NFC near-field communication stickers to connect to an app they developed to alert emergency responders of emergency threats by instantly recording audio.
Everyone.
Throughout the challenge, students and educators will have their own responsibilities. Educators will be in charge of coordinating the challenge event with their students and collaborating with the Jacobs Institute and Impactful community. They will use Impactful to track students' team's progress and provide feedback to their students. The students will be middle school or high school students of at least 13 years old, and we will be asking them to create a Google account and work in teams using Impactful to document their project's progress towards a solution.
And before Anne continues, I just want to mention briefly that I sent a link to the Google Slides in the chat, and we'll be also sending that through email. So you can click on the links that we're sharing. We had some links about previous winners, so you can check that out on your own time and go through the slides more at a deeper time as you wish.
Let's take a look at our timeline. Here we have today is the Understand webinar. We'll continue to follow up with webinars to serve as touch points to go over phases, check on your progress, and answer any questions you may have along the process. An important date for you to remember is April 30th. This is the day video pitches are due. Winners will then be announced on May 19th.
Thank you. And I also want to highlight from this one that as you go through the different webinars, so we have the one happening today and we have a few ones coming up in the different months, really, they're all flexible in the way that you work with students. So it's up to you to decide when to do those activities with your students within each phase. And I'll show you in a moment how to access those activities. But the main due date here for everyone is April 30th. So again, we try to be as much as flexible as we can with the curriculum and tools and resources that are available to you to support students in designing a social solution. But the main due date here is April 30th when the pitches are due. And I also forgot to mention, please drop in your questions in the chat. And we'll answer those as we move forward through the webinar, and we'll also take those questions at the end. So feel free to drop them in the chat, or at the end we'll have Q&A. Thank you.
Within this competition, everyone wins because we're taking steps to a better world. And in addition to the intrinsic reward, winning teachers and teams will learn social responsibility by selecting a charity to make a contribution on behalf of their team and the Jacobs Institute. Winning teams and their solutions will be celebrated on our Paxful website and the Paxful community and media, along with receiving certificates celebrating their success.
Thank you, Anne. And I want to point out from this one the awards that are going to be awarded this year. So we have $2,000 for the Best Overall Social Innovation Award, and $500 for four different other awards: the Most Creative Innovation Award, the Most Local Impact Award, the Most Global Impact Award, and the one that advances Social Justice and Equity Award. If you have been a participant of the challenge before, these awards have changed. So we're glad to offer these different awards, and also state that the awards have more flexibility this year. So students can designate a charity, but depending on the country of the award recipient, they can also select a gift. They might be able to select a gift for their classroom from that amount. And or donate it to their school if they're a nonprofit. So again, this is a big change for the challenge, and new awards and access to those awards also.
We are also excited to offer an additional sponsored prize this year on behalf of DRS Daylight Solutions. Student teams who create a solution in the field of photonics are eligible to receive a $1,000 award for charity of their choice and recognition from the DRS Daylight Solutions, who will share the news via their marketing channels and provide certificates of achievement, as well as mentoring students to help make their solution go to the next level. To qualify for this award, the solution must relate again to the field of photonics, which is the physical science of light waves.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anne. I'm going to go ahead and answer the question in the chat. And again, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll also take Q&A at the end. So feel free to add them in the chat or wait until the end. So we have one in the chat. It says, we have our project event group participating in this contest for a total of 5 teams. The students are middle school students, and while some are 13, other team members are younger. Can they participate? So we'll get into more detail as we go through the app, but you'll see that everything's accessible through the Paxful app, where all the curriculum is hosted. Students do have to be 13 years or older to be able to create an account for Paxful, but we do suggest that students who are younger are paired with other students who are able to create an account. So those students who are paired with a group of students who they can upload the work and work through them, or you can also download the activities. That's another alternative. So you can always pair students for other students to have access, but students might have to be 13 years or older to access the Paxful account. And something else to mention from this good question is that students you can have your students participating in other challenges or other programs, and they can submit at the end their pitch here, as long as, of course, they're completing the different activities that we're gonna go over with you in a moment. But it's okay if they're also participating in other challenges. So I think that's a good thing to also point out. So this year, like other years too, we have gift cards for educators. And when we say educators, we mean anyone who's leading a group of students, because we have after-school parents, nonprofit leaders, youth coaches. It's really any adult who wants to help support students and walk them through the challenge. So that's why when we say educators, we mean teachers, but also anyone who's helping lead their students. So educators are welcome to share the work that they're completing with students and take screenshots of the work that they're creating of students' work. And to be able to participate and get one of those $25 gift card or Storyteller Awards, you just have to use the hashtag JTIC24. So just add that hashtag in all our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll be able to see your work, and you will be able to you will be able to qualify to get potentially one of these awards of the storytelling awards through the share work that you're posting online as you progress through students' work. So here are some examples from last year of some educators sharing their work. I know Selena is here in this call, of how they were able to share their work that they were creating with their students in the classroom. So again, you can create take a photo of the work that they're actually creating and use the hashtag, or use students' work or screen. Sometimes they even take screenshots of the computer and they post that. So as long as you hashtag JTIC 2024 for this year, this was from last year, we'll be able to see that. Okay, and I'll wait on the next question because we're gonna get through the PACFO curriculum in a moment, and some of those questions are gonna be answered. So what is PACFO? PACFO is a platform that fosters innovation for teenagers and teachers to become social good innovators to solve local and global problems, align with the UN goals, and practice design thinking to develop a mindset. And I think something that the co-founder of PACFO says often with us with the team is that innovation is a mindset. So once students are able to learn this mindset, they're able to develop solutions for different challenges that they're facing at their local communities, at a global scale for this challenge. But it's a mindset that they can use to solve really and design solutions for any problem. So I'm gonna play a little video here for you.
Anyone can be a social innovator. Social innovation is all about people around the world working together to solve local and global problems. In 2015, the United Nations agreed to make the world a better place by establishing 17 global goals. These goals offer a framework to address large social challenges such as poverty, hunger, and climate change. Here, you'll develop an innovator's mindset to tackle any challenge and create solutions aligned to a global goal. These solutions could be something as small as how to handle food waste at home, or as large as how to provide clean drinking water to anyone in your city. To make the world a better place, it takes people like you working in teams. Using the design thinking process, you'll identify issues, brainstorm ideas, and prototype incredible new solutions to problems that affect us. Your team will work through 3 phases of design thinking: understand, ideate, and prototype to create a solution for a local or global issue. When complete, you'll also develop a pitch to share your work with a larger audience. Have you ever realized that everything in the world is designed, but not all designs are good? With an innovator's mindset and design thinking, you will redesign the world and make it a better place. Get ready to become a bold and powerful innovator.
So you'll see through once we start, I'll show you a demo of how to access the platform and create an account and add your students. But you'll start seeing that all the main goals are integrated within the platform. So even when students start designing a project, they start by selecting a UN goal. So the platform allows them and walks them through the process of integrating all these skills just by accessing and using PACFO. So getting started with students, the ideal team size is 3 to 4 students. And this is a suggestion. This is like something that we see within the camps that we implement here at USD, University of San Diego, or that we often see that is ideal for students. But again, it's up to the educator to decide how many students should be part of a team. But we strongly suggest 3 to 4 students. you need to invite students into Packful, the Packful platform, using your class code, which appears on your dashboard. And again, I'll show you a demo of where you can find that. We also hyperlink here through 2 amazing resources for you. That again, we'll send you this through email. If we can share the link to the slides and one more time in case anybody joined a little bit late. We'll send you the slides through email too, so you can click on the links. But there's a teacher's guide. So if this is the first time that you're new to design thinking or designing social projects, or using even a platform, a platform to support and walk students, that's fine. You don't have to have any previous knowledge at all in any of these different topics to be able to be part of the challenge. Our main idea and goal is through the different webinars to give you access and the resources so that you can then share with your students. And we actually, in the past, we had some educators who have share this webinar with students. So that's also possible. Once we set that recording, you can feel free to send it out to students. And what the teacher guide's gonna do is walk you through the different phases of the design thinking process and explain to you how to create an account. Basically what we're doing in this webinar, but much more in detail. And the Innovators Guide is a tool that you can use with your students for them to get started designing social projects, and it includes resources too. So the first thing you're going to be asked to do is to get students in teams. And they can be, some suggestions are that you can form teams around a local or global issue that they're interested on, a topic, or even a UN goal. Again, these are suggestions, but it's up to you to decide how you team up your students. We also provide a team member contract that you can use with students so they can set expectations for the team and also divide the task needed for their project. And of course, we strongly encourage the diversity within your teams to provide that diversity of ideas within each team. And helping students to identify a problem that is relevant for them is also powerful. And today's webinar is focused on the first phase, which is the understand phase. So we'll help you a little bit too on this, on helping students select a problem. And there's some activities that allow you to help students with that too. But again, you don't have to have like a set issue for them to focus on. But of course, we also have teachers who have decided, educators who decided, hey, we're doing this with this global goal, focus on this global goal, and that's fine. It's up to the educator. And maybe here, let me see if we have a Packful alumni who wants to share a little bit of their experience of how they go about forming teams and having them select a theme for their project. I don't know if Stephanie, if you're open to sharing, that would be amazing.
Certainly. For us, we've traveled a long distance on putting together teams. And so I can talk about several different ways we've done it. So our most recent way is we use the RIASEC to identify traits, and we mix groups up so that they have a variety of different people in those groups. We try to consider their academic strengths as well, so that the groups have a well-rounded group in them. And then we challenge them to find a topic in common. And this is note that I'm running in the context of a full year program, so I have a little bit more time. This is a very difficult thing to do, to get this group to gel like this. It's not something I would recommend if you're trying to run in a shorter time period. In the past, we've done a couple other things. Like 1 year we were doing the project, we were doing this contest, but we were also doing Design for San Diego, which had 4 contest areas. And we took those 4 contest areas and split them out, 1 to each classroom. So we already had a fairly well-defined topic. So then as a class, they would research that topic and then find areas they were interested in under that umbrella topic. And then we grouped them around those interests. so that they could then further narrow down in there. So in that case, it was basically a topic-based thing where we'd already pre-selected, we'd already narrowed down into, say, a global goal, and they would focus in on a specific target under that goal. And that was a much simpler way to get people working in a group, but we found that friends tended to work together, and that doesn't work great in an academic environment. So those are the experiences we've had with both grouping people have to learn how to work together, which we think is a big strength of these types of projects, is those collaboration skills, or also focusing on the end goal of getting an invention that they could be really proud of, which is also a worthy way to do it. So I think your sky's the limit here on how you put them together, and it really depends on the environment you're coming from and what experience your members will have previously working in group projects.
Thank you so much, Stefan, for sharing that, and we'll continue to seek your comments and guide through the webinar. So yes, as Stefan mentioned, like it's up to you to decide how long you're gonna implement the curriculum. Also, if you have like a full semester or full year to implement it, well, we technically end the challenge when the pitches are due in April. But it's up to you to decide how much time you're gonna focus on implementing the activities or working with students. Usually for our camps, we rush students through the curriculum and we have them design and pitch and podcast in a week. So even if you're designing solutions with students, like say you're just gonna focus like a week, it can be done. It's a little bit rushed, but again, it's up to you to decide how much you're gonna devote with the curriculum and guiding students through the different activities. So we're here today, we're doing the understand phase, which is to discover the complexity of problems and how it affects people. A little bit of understanding and creating empathy and understanding the issues around the social issue, solving the root issues of a social issue and understanding it before even prototyping or designing solutions, right? So this is where we are right now. And then next month we have another webinar here, and then we'll move forward with the different ones until the pitches are due in April. And we have arrows going up and down because really design thinking is not a linear process. Innovation and creativity, it's around using feedback from users or a focus group to really give you information and rethink what you thought was your idea, no? So that's why we have arrows here jumping in and out. You might have students like they go through an understand phase and they start creating a prototype. And when they seek feedback from that prototype, they might feel that they need more knowledge, or they might feel that they need to seek out more information. So you might go back to the understand phase to help them dive deeper into the issue before continuing and designing solutions. So that's what those arrows mean behind the design thinking. So let's see a video about the understand phase here.
Ready to innovate? Let's get started. To help your team understand a social problem, generate innovative ideas, and prototype and test solutions, you'll begin a 3-step process known as design thinking. The first phase of design thinking is to deeply understand the problem. In the understand phase, you'll discover the complexity of the problem. During this phase, don't worry about coming up with a solution just yet. To begin, you'll conduct your own research to learn about the issues surrounding the problem. You'll use a variety of resources to gather all the information you can, and you'll identify your current knowledge and assumptions about the issue. Then you'll connect with people that are experiencing the problem and really get to know them by conducting interviews and possibly observing them to grasp how the problem affects them directly. Once you conduct your research, you'll make sense of everything you've learned by organizing all the information you've uncovered. This will help your team decide on one specific area where you can create a solution. Think about which problem your team finds most critical or exciting and where you can make a difference. How do you want to build a better world?
So I'm going to show you some of those activities that are under the understand phase, and just answering one of those questions that we had in the chat about, let me go back. The question about, do the kids have to upload their progress regularly on Packful? Yes. So I'll show you the platform and how they submit their work and how you provide feedback. And that's part of the challenge, right? We have to see the work and how they progress through your feedback and how they redesign or rethought their project through both of you working in the platform. And we have another email message, but I just want to share this. It was shared privately, but I just want to mention it, that they're happy that we're saying that innovation is not linear. Yeah, I think that's something that design thinkers, professionals or in the area, or having people having implemented design thinking is something that or even designing their own social projects that we see, it's feedback and get back and teaching. And that's the process and methodology, thinking methodology that we're teaching students, right? That designing solutions, social solutions is not linear. Learning is not linear. So there should be space for that feedback and learning and going back and not being afraid to in a sense, make mistakes or learn from their mistakes, because it's all a process of like relearning or learning or understanding, especially in this understand phase. How do I understand and create empathy for the people that I'm going to be designing? First, by understanding their needs, that's the challenges they go through before I even design this for them. Stefan, is there anything else you would add there for like the understand phase and how it helps students kind of understand that perspective first before designing solutions for a certain community?
You have a slide later that's very familiar to me, that what we're doing when we start the understand phase is really getting very broad, getting as much information. And then as we're closing out the understand phase, narrowing down. And I think that activity of, learning and getting a real wide view and then coming in is really key to that phase of both starting from a big point, but then narrowing down on something they want to make a change in.
Yeah, thank you. That's super helpful, because even as educators, some of you might say, hey, let's focus on this challenge, an issue, and you might have an idea, but some of you might be open to allowing students to select that problem. And again, like Stephanie is saying, like, you don't have to have it defined exactly before jumping into designing a solution. And we'll show you what activities are part of that. Let me just jump here to showing you a little bit of how you're going to use the platform. So this is an open source platform. It's free to create an account. Even like people who are not going through the challenge, if you know anyone who needs access to over 35 activities designed for middle and high school, activities that are like around design thinking and need access to different activities, they're free for anyone to download there. And are accessible. The way that you access the curriculum is that you create an account. You can use this link, or again, we'll share the slides in case you need the access to that link. You fill out a form with some basic information about your class name, the grade that you're teaching, and then you'll create an account, and that will give you access to a dashboard. Well, you'll see a class code to send to your students, where they also have to create a student's account. And through that code, they'll be able to join your class. So it's very easy, very straightforward. Existing students, if there's any students that you have that already have a Packful account, they just need that new code that you're using to be able to be added to a new class. So again, we'll share this with you, but I want to jump into the platform so you can see how you create an account and add students. So if you go to pacfo.org, you can go here, sign in, and you'll say create a teacher account. So you'll create a teacher account. Again, if you're a parent or coach leader or anyone who's guiding students, this is what you want to do to access the curriculum. And then students will go here to create a student account. And once you create a teacher account, your dashboard is going to look a little bit like this. And there's a few new functions within the platform that I want to show you. So once you log into your account, there's going to be, for first timers, you won't see all this information because you'll just see like a new classroom that you can use fresh and use that. Or you can always create new classes. So for example, we have different educators who might have students from all classes create designing a solution. So you might want to create multiple classes, and now you can do that through the dashboard. Before you had to like email us and Stephanie saying yes, you had to email us and we had to create it for you, but now you can do it here in the dashboard. So you just go select a class or create a class, and that's going to give you a new class code. And again, it's up to you how you have students. You might have all students in one classroom. That's fine. It's up to you. There's no limit on how many students you can add. But this is basically the dashboard. This is what you give students the class code for them to join this class, and then they'll all be in the same class. So you'll see here an example of how like I have a few students who joined this same class. So they were all in this project, and once they join the class, they can create projects together. They can join a project. So that's what it allows. But let me go ahead and create a new project. If this is the first time that you're joining, you'll go here, create a project, and then this is where students select, and the students will have very similar view of the platform. So they'll select a global goal for their team or their project. And then here I'm just gonna do like a test so you can see how it looks. And then here they can add team members if they're joining new team members, add a description of their project, maybe if they have one already. But once they are able to select that global goal, then this is the curriculum. This is where they'll start seeing the different phases of the design thinking process. So right now we're just focusing on understand phase. Of course, if it's up to you, if you want to start working with students on the other phases, if you're ready, there's all the resources are there for you to start accessing that information. We even had like educators who have said like, oh, the platform is so easy to use that once I like help students set up an account, they just started working on their own because they have access to all this information. So again, it's up to you how you decide how to work with students. And I'll click on one of them so you can see. But again, all the different material that we're gonna go through each webinar, it's already there. So if we go back to the timeline for PACFO, you'll see the timeline here that on each month we're going a little bit over each month. Yeah, so we're going under each phase, right? So in February, we'll do the ideate, and then March, the prototype and pitch April 11th, and then April 30th, pitches are due. So this is what we're gonna be focusing on. If you want to see the rubric of how we're gonna evaluate students, you can see that under the pitch phase. So again, everything that we're gonna go over is already accessible there if you want to go ahead and click and see what's available. But right now we're just gonna focus on the understand phase. So if you click on the understand phase, and again, students and educators will be able to access this, you have 3 different sections for all phases. You have the explore, do, and document. So under the explore, you'll have definitions, videos, examples of what that phase means. So you see here in the understand phase, they'll start doing a little bit of research, trying to understand a little bit more of the social issue they're trying to cover, understand some of the uncover assumptions, building some empathy and trying to understand how people face these problems on a daily basis, doing interviews, and then they start refining their idea of like, okay, this is what the issue I want to focus on. And then they'll start doing more as we get closer to ideation. So under that do, this is where you can download the activities or they can make a copy. So for all the activities, you have to make a copy. And for all anyone who needs to create a Packful account, educator or student, it has to be through Gmail because we use the Drive. So all activities you can access them by making a copy of it. So you click on the activity, you'll be directed to make a copy, and that's how you access the activities. So you see here the different activities, some of them are mentioned by Stefan. So you see here the research, diving into research, and you'll see here, let me see if it'll open. Yes, I'm using the Packful, let me see if I can account. So I don't know if it's gonna allow me to access, but you should be able to click on it and it's gonna show you the Google document. Let me see if it doesn't have so many questions here. Yeah, so you'll directly make a copy, and that's what you want to do. You want to make a copy, or your students want to make a copy of that activity, and they can all work in the same activity, or they can all make their copy and share one document or add it to one document that is going to be sent to you for feedback. So again, it's that simple. You just make a copy, and this is what the activity looks like, right? So all of them have an activity or a diagram they can do from here. So depending on the activity, it might be different, right? So you have the research portfolio, where students are asked to do some research. There, you also have some uncovering assumptions chart, and it gives you the directions of how you can go about and implementing that activity. So it's up to you to assign the activities under each phase. So you also have this one here, researching disparities, graphic organizer, the script interview. This is one that I enjoy doing because I love getting students like in the perspective of others, and interviewing really gets them to like talk to experts or talk to people who are knowledgeable in that area, and they can do a little bit of empathy understanding through that. So it even gives you like a script interview to prepare for that. Conduct interviews, conduct observations, exploring the news. And then here they start like refining a little bit more of their ideas, but we don't really get to refining until ideation, right? So here we just want them to explore different social issues, organize their finding, organize their empathy mapping. So these are all different activities that you'll find under the understand phase. Again, you don't have to assign them all. It's up to you to decide how many activities you at the end decide to assign to your students. But of course, we need to see some work of them that they have been able to understand the issue that they're trying to address, if they created a brainstorming idea. And these are some of the activities that will help you do that. And then lastly, the last section is document. So this is where students are gonna add a file from the Drive to turn into you. And this is where you provide feedback to them. And you can do it multiple times. You can send it back and forth to students so that you're providing that feedback that you need to move forward. And that's basically the platform. You can click around and there's like other resources here. There's the innovators guide. You can also, this is the one that I was telling you, if you want to see past winner examples, because that's always useful for students, right? To see kind of an example of where they're going. I'll share this link in the chat. So these are past winners from last year. So they can see examples of winning teams. And this is students, like students created the videos. So they can see like students their age creating the pitches. And you can use this for your class and show them examples. So this is what the platform looks like. Let me see what questions we have in the chat, because this is like the main idea. Parul, it's up to you how many classes you need to create. Again, some educators prefer to do one class for older teams, and some of them prefer to do one class for each class. So it depends on how many students you have and how many classes you want to create, but you're able to do that through the dashboard. Another question, do students have to submit an activity log for each task? So again, it's up to you how many activities you're gonna assign to your students. But of course, for the overall challenge, we need to see that work done as part of the dashboard, right? So I would suggest like 2 to 3 activities from the understand phase. But again, depending on your availability to work with students, some educators might say, like we have the whole semester, so let's do all of them, 1 activity per week, or, like 2 activities per week or something like that. So again, it's up to you, depending on the time that you work with students and how much time you have, but we strongly suggest, I want to see 2 or 3 activities. Maybe one from, like from the top and another one from the bottom, of like really having students understand the needs, creating empathy with those, with the social issue they're trying to address. And that's basically it as part of the demo. I'm gonna go through what's next for the challenge, so you are aware of what's coming next. Again, you have the teacher's guide that is super helpful and super clear on what directions to take and next steps to take. So I would strongly also suggest that resource, accessing that resource. So what's next? Coming up and getting ready for the next webinar. So you need to create a teacher account, impactful, invite students, and start working on the understand phase activities with them. And our next webinar is on February 22nd. And I'll send a recorded version of this with the slides so that you can reference back. And of course, we're always here if you have any questions, if you come up with the questions while going over the curriculum. And if we can type in our emails in the chat, that would be great. You can always reach to us if you have any questions regarding the curriculum or any suggestions. We're always open to suggestions. Actually, the new updated changes to the function of the dashboard is through feedback. So we always welcome feedback. Again, as a new function for the dashboard, you can create your own classes, and we have new announcements coming soon. There's a good questions through the chat that I want to reference back before I open it up for Q&A, which is a great question. So it says, what is the scoring or grading mechanism? So we don't do grades impactful. It's more based on feedback. It's based, if you as a teacher, you decide to assign a specific grade, thank you, Anne, grade to the activities, that's up to you. But through Impactful, we strongly believe that social innovations, students grow through feedback. That's why it's a grading system based on feedback, where you can provide comments and suggestions to make their project design better or better informed. So that's why we provide that section of feedback to be able to provide that support. Stefan, is there anything you would add for that grading? I don't know if you do it a little bit different for yours.
So we've been through several different iterations of grading. So one of the problems is if you aren't, if you let the groups choose which of the activities they're going to be doing as part of it. You're gonna have a very hard time with grading because you'll have different activities from each group. What we'd like to be doing, or what we had a goal last year, and we're not doing it this year. We set up a set of rubrics around the 4 C's, and we said we want to use our design thinking program to push the understanding of the 4 C's, and we did a reflection with each phase of the project, that they would self-reflect on how they did the 4 C's. And so we divided the cultural competencies out among the different types of activities and said, what should they be getting out of this, and how can their reflection review that? So it was all rubric-based grading on that. So we have those rubrics available. If anybody's interested, they can reach out to me and I can dig them up. The other part of that for us is, in order to encourage completion, we would just do, okay, we need you to have this many activities. If you do this many activities, it's an A, you get your B if you do the amount we require, and C if you did that. And then that would be, the activities are accepted by me as you've taken my feedback and refined them and turned them in, and they're good to go. So you could just do a rubric off how many activities you've submitted on each thing, and run that as a way of saying, hey, we're talking about feedback here and about making an acceptable outcome. But the way to do that is to say, how many activities did you do? How many do I need for this phase? How many did you complete?
Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, so it's always great to get reference from the teachers who are using that curriculum, and it's up to you, right? So different educators use different ways to assign the activities, to provide feedback, or how to use that curriculum within their own classroom. So thank you, Stefan, for providing some of those suggestions. We're gonna do Q&A, but I also want to do something here new. I want to do a breakout room just for you to have space to connect with other educators, and see. Well, let me do first Q&A, and then we'll do the breakout rooms as a suggestion for anyone who wants to stay. So I'll open it up for any questions that you have. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat. Let's do 5 minutes of Q&A. Or you can unmute yourselves and ask any question. No questions? Okay, so again, we're always open and available. If you have any questions that you have, feel free to reach us through email. We'll send you our follow-up email with a recording of the session also. I'll stop, instead of doing the breakout session, I'm just gonna start with the recording because I know some folks like to ask questions offline. So I'll stop the recording, and then if you have any questions, feel free to stay. Or if you don't have any questions, you're free to go, and we look forward to having you join us in the next webinar. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Have a good evening. So let me stop here.